Miami just beat out Georgia for Vance Spafford. We're going to be taking a deeper look at what Miami's getting at receiver here with the commitment of Vance Spafford. 5'11", 175, Mission Viejo, California. If you guys have any opinions on this kid, let me know. I'm going to give my 2 cents throughout the video. I usually try to hold my opinion until we have a fuller picture of what exactly they're getting. Also watched Miami's quarterback commit in the 26 class, Darian Coleman, earlier today. Big fan of him. So if you guys want a refresher, if you want my opinion on him, he's out there. So I've actually already watched his highlight tapes, but first time I watched it, I had to rewind this one 3 times to make sure that he wasn't on defense on that play, because that looked like a free safety tracking a ball there. Like I said, I've already seen this, but you'll see kind of a recurring theme here. Just want to get this out of the way. I think this kid's a great athlete. I don't want to make it sound like he's only a hardworking kid. I think when people talk about that and they kind of downplay the athleticism, maybe what makes the kid naturally such a good receiver, but I absolutely love the physicality that this kid plays with. You see it on the block there, but throughout the tape you'll also see it on screens, on drags, 5-yard slants, every time he's fighting for another yard or two. And that's kind of something that you'll see on this play also. That's something that's essential for a running back to be successful at the next level, just because the amount of times they touch the ball. But you'll see a lot of receivers that are really good athletes not necessarily do that. And if I was watching a highlight tape and a kid wasn't fighting for an extra yard or two as a receiver, I wouldn't really point it out, just because it's not a do or die thing whether a kid's going to be successful at the next level. But this kind of stuff for a slot receiver, because 5'11", we're probably going to be talking about this kid in the slot. See what he does, to see the physical brand that he plays with, to see him finish runs for a kid that's, like I said, probably more of a high volume type receiver. I think it's very, very exciting. Watch how he finishes this one here. I don't even think he got an extra yard on that one, to be honest. He just kind of ran the kid over, but you'll see on other plays where he does a good job of that. So that kind of stuff, plus, I already said he's a good athlete. I don't think he's a kid that you're going to be very excited about the top-end speed with. But, Restrepo just had probably the best receiving career in Miami history, and he did not run a good 40 time. I think he's a lot faster than what his 40 time actually was. But there's not that many situations where you're running 40 yards as a receiver. Of course there are. It shows up in a game, but I'm more concerned about the explosiveness and the change of direction, especially with this kind of athlete. And I think you see he has those two traits. That's what puts him on your radar, I think. The physicality and the strong hands away from the body, just the other stuff that make him a good receiver, that's what really gets you excited, I think, about having a kid in your class like this. So just kind of wrap up my thoughts here. I think this kid's a very good route runner. I think he's really explosive, and I think he does the smaller parts of the game very well, which we don't really say a lot about high school kids because that's usually, an understanding of the game situations. It's kind of hard to just pick that up from a highlight tape, but the fact that you can see it in a highlight tape means it's probably even better than we're giving it credit for. I think he's really sudden. Ball skills are very good also. That's something that you can say what you want about Restrepo. But to me, it was the ball skills that made him so friggin' good. Just like next level. And it's not necessarily like dominating at the catch point. You weren't throwing 50-50 balls to Restrepo and asking him to come down with them every time. But it's more he just made it a lot easier on the quarterback. Like, he would get open, don't get me wrong. Hell of a route runner. But, even Cam Ward misses throws. And he missed a couple throws last year. And Restrepo made him right. There was that one, I think it was fourth down. I forget the game. I'm not going to remember. It was one of the close games they had in the fourth quarter against, Virginia Tech. And Restrepo, was, on his back almost and made the catch and saved the game. That play we remember because it was at the end of the game. But if you have a receiver that does that throughout the course of the game, it actually affects the game more. You just don't remember it as much because it was in the second quarter or the first quarter, You're still getting your beer at that point. It's not the end of the game. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think about this kid. I like him. I don't think I've watched a prospect I haven't liked yet, but like I said, I think for what Miami's getting, he kind of fits the mold pretty well. You guys let me know what you think.